favorite real scary stories? Part 2. Please like and subscribe to support this channel. I had just started subleasing from this apartment. I go to bed one night and everything is locked up, including my bedroom door. I wake up around 3 a.m. to this jingling sound. At first I'm just dazed and confused, and like, what the hell's making that sound? I lay there for a while trying to wake up, and I realize that it's my keys. It sounded like someone was playing with my keys that were in my room. I was too terrified to do anything. Then the overhead light comes on. I'm literally about to wet myself at this point, because I'm terrified there's a robber in my house. All of a sudden, I hear the keys drop to the floor. I'm trembling, and too terrified to do anything about it. I just laid there wide awake until sunrise. I finally look over to where I think this person should be standing and there's no one there. I get up, I walk over to the spot, and sure enough, there are the keys just lying on the ground. No door had been opened or closed, or else I would have heard it. All of the doors and windows were still locked. I stayed at a hotel for the next week until I could find a better and brand new apartment. Also, I pissed myself. I'm sure you would have too. Closing parenthesis. Okay, so I wish I had a news article to back this up, but I don't. I live in Jacksonville Beach. FL and my hubby and I were walking on the beach at night, looking to find some place romantic for some sexy times. We can see in the distance a blanket and basket sitting on the shore. We wander over and find what we think is the leftovers of a romantic picnic. It has some fruit, wine and some candles burned out. Then we see some feathers. And the waves crash in and a decapitated chicken corpse washes up, clearly beheaded. We suddenly realize this isn't a romantic picnic, it's the remnants of some kind of voodoo ritual. We ran away. It scared the crap out of us. No confirmation for this one, except but it really did happen. We were driving on a motorcycle to a friend's place in northern CA, neither of us had been there before. We had directions, this was way before GPS and cell phones, but at one point, there was a fork in the road. No mention of fork in directions. We choose one at random, and immediately felt this creepy, weird vibe. I'm begging So to turn back, he keeps saying, no it must be around this next corner. Finally he agrees, turns back, we take the other fork. Find friend's house in about 3 minutes. The really creepy part is our friends assure us there is no fork in the road. We explore it over the weekend, no fork anywhere. So, no great tale of horrors we saw, just a creepy road that shouldn't have been there, but it still gives me the creeps just thinking about it. I'm a skeptic, we both are. This is one of the few things that I really can't explain. Let me preface this by saying that I come from a somewhat rural part of Michigan about an hour and a half north of Detroit where meth is very popular. My friends and I were driving from Rochester to a house party about 4 miles out of Oxford. We liked sticking to the back roads, so instead of making the sensible decision and going on a paved road we went down Drunner Road. We were driving my friend's Wrangler and going as fast as we possibly could when we suddenly had to come to a sudden, screeching stop. In the road about 50 feet ahead of the car about 25 listless people stood empty-eyed and expressionless in the middle of the road. My friend put it into first and started slowly approaching the people who did absolutely nothing to avoid the car heading towards them. As we got closer they moved only enough to assimilate the Jeep like when a one-celled organism eats another. They stood only inches from the car and stared in listlessly with blank expressions as we slowly trolled through their human barrier. Once we had passed the last of them my friend floored it and inadvertently shot rocks into the crowd. This greatly agitated them. They started ranting nonsense and gave slow steady chase, but we quickly lost them as my friend drove the car as fast as he could. We only got a mile when my friend rounded a tight corner and hit an enormous pothole. The right front tire suffered from severe decompression and flattened. We immediately jumped out the car and started the quickest tire change outside of an F1 race. We started hearing their shouts and the job became the fastest tire change ever. As we pulled the jack out from under the Jeep the first of the meth heads started rounding the corner. We all jumped in the car and never looked back. I can't back this up with any evidence, so I have no idea why I'm even telling this. I just need to get it off my chest. I live in Singapore, and over here we don't really have the same ghosts as Westerners do. We have our own version of a vampire, called the Pontianak, which originated from Indonesia, which is the ghost of a vengeful woman who died in childbirth. For those who want a description, just imagine that ghost from The Ring, dressed in white, long hair covering her face, etc. For years, I've been fearful of encountering this ghost. I've always tried to avoid certain places which has been rumored to be her dwelling grounds, but sometimes it's inevitable. One of those times, I did see her, along with a few of my friends, and I never forgot what happened. So my friends and I decided to go cycling one night. I only just learned how to cycle, so I was pretty slow compared to the rest. I also preferred cycling at night at secluded, open places, because I was embarrassed by the fact that I didn't really know how to cycle. So we went to our usual spot at a park and it was empty save a couple making out on a bench and us. There was a playground in the distance, so we decided to head there and take a smoke break. As we got closer, we started to notice that there was someone sitting on the swings. Not swinging, just sitting there, facing the floor, hands by the sides, hair almost touching the ground. She was dressed in all white, and instantly we all knew. "Miss P," my friend shouted to us. I could feel my body getting cold, my hair standing and goosebumps all over. It was as though my blood magically vanished from my body. I froze while my friends, ballsy, or idiotic if you're looking at it logically, as they were, started to approach her. They taunted her, hurling insults and laughing like maniacs. As they circled her from a distance, I saw her starting to twitch. Mind you, I was quite a distance away from my friends. Suddenly, she bolted upwards and started cackling like a mad witch. I think the proper word to use for her movement is glide. Yes, she glided across the playground. Worse still, it was towards my direction. Rumor has it that these ghosts target the weak link, those who are easily frightened. In that case, it was me. My friends were reasonably shocked and they darted off in different directions on their bikes. I was stunned as I saw my friends zooming past me. "Hoth, let's get the fuck out of here," my friend shouted to me as he cycled past me. I got on my bike and started pedaling like crazy. This was the fastest I've been on a bike. I could feel the wind rushing through my hair. I don't know if it was an unfortunate circumstance, or it was the work of some evil voodoo, but my right pedal suddenly broke, bringing my slipper along with it. I stumbled for a few seconds, turning back to see the pursuer. I might be remembering wrongly, but I swear she was almost an arm's reach away. I didn't care about anything after that and cycled away, with one barefoot on a thin cold metal bar instead of a proper pedal. I didn't stop cycling until I couldn't hear that wicked laugh of the creature. Needless to say, I never went back to that park again, even in the day. That wasn't my worst paranormal experience though, but that's a story for another time. I need to go grab a smoke. Didn't happen to me, but I have been on the property where the following picture taken. My cousin closest to the white. Whatever lives in a 10 trailer or so circle out in the middle of the Ohio countryside. There's a small barn that has been there forever and apparently slaves had been hung in it long ago. They were in it because it's since been turned into game room. They swore no one was smoking since that's the closest thing the wood ever resembles. They gave me the picture to keep so I could check it out. I have no explanation, but I do know it's pretty creepy. It looks even creepier when seeing a mirror image of it. Not too scary a story I know, but the picture is definitely weird. So my story has nothing to do with groups of people or anything like that, but it lingers in the back of my mind to this day. This is set up in the month before we moved out. About 10 years ago when I was around the age of 9 we lived in our previous house and were starting the process of moving out. Now I had grown up in this house and all my friends lived around me, so I was very torn about moving out. There happened to be a very bad thunderstorm that one of the nights before we were finished moving and all my toys were in boxes. Some of the toys started to make noises as if I was playing with them. Now my mother told me that it was the electricity in the air from the storm. Today I feel like she was telling that to herself too. I didn't think much of it though because I was 9. As we were getting ready to leave, my sister had always had imaginary friends, and for a girl who was 5 that seemed pretty normal, I suppose. The problems were that she would go to bed earlier than me, and when I would stay up late to watch Adult Swim I would always feel like someone was looking at me from the hallway where her room was. This had always been going on, but it only grew as we prepared to leave. This is the part that literally has my hair standing up telling it. The last day had come and we were putting the final boxes in our truck when I decided to go in and look around, make sure I had everything. When I was in the basement, where I played N64 and basically lived, I felt a very sad feeling come over me, like I was leaving my life behind to move somewhere really far away. I kinda became emotional, so I quickly rubbed my eyes for I didn't want anyone to see me, a young man crying. I then for whatever reason said goodbye to the house as if it was living. The very moment I said goodbye, I heard a very childlike voice reply, "See y'all later." I stood frozen. When I turned, a red ball was laying on the floor that I did not remember being there. I sprinted out of that house and got in the car. My mom asked what was going on. I replied, "There is a ball inside in the basement, leave it there." Years later, everyone in my family had told me they saw the same red ball after they felt the need to say goodbye. Only me and my sister heard the reply. My mom and dad only saw the ball. I don't really believe in ghosts, but whatever that was, I am fucking scared shitless of that house now. In high school, I worked with the choral and theater departments on the spring musical every year. There was a girl who had graduated a few years before me that everyone knew, and a close friend of mine, who was 2 years older, had known and spoken with about this story. The girl who this story is about is named Rebecca, and how she could see angels and demons. Since she was young, she would always notice these certain kind of people walking around wearing all khaki clothing, buttoned-up trench coats, slacks, long dresses, etc. She said they always had a sort of bland pallor to them. When she was younger, she assumed everyone could see these people, but then she started noticing that they would follow people around. But the people they followed would never seem to notice. Every once in a while she would also see another type of person, this time dressed all in white, floating unnoticed behind other people on the street. Then she said that they seemed to realize she could see them. They would show up everywhere she went and oftentimes follow her. Every time they entered a room she was in, she heard a faint pop noise. Eventually she told her parents, and they were understandably hesitant about whether or not to believe her. But then some specific instances occurred where paranormal types things couldn't really be explained away. I would write them out, but when my friend told me this story it took a good hour or so, and it's been years since I heard it firsthand. So her parents looked to their priest at their church for help, and after a while they came to pray over their house to help protect it from the demons coming inside. The prayers apparently worked, because the girl told my friend how there seemed to be an invisible fences around the house that kept them from coming near. But she could still see them occasionally stalking around the house in circles, waiting. I still get the shivers thinking about it. When I was around 12, there used to be a thing in my city where kids go around singing carols to people and they would maybe give us some money. This was in Cyprus. Someone may confirm this. Anyways, me and my friends decided to go into this huge apartment building, and everything was fine till we got to the 6th floor. As we knocked on one of the apartment doors, the door slowly pried open, and then whoever was behind it started opening and closing it in the most violent manner I had ever seen. We are running to the elevator scared shitless, and the elevator opens. We hear screaming, "The devil, the devil." We jump inside the elevator, and as I was watching what felt like the longest time the elevator closing in fear that the person had come out to kill us or something. Phew.